Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the Soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
Yes, it is indeed the Pop Tower Podcast, and I am Peter W. Dawson.
And I am
Joining
James Bullock. So I'm going to interrupt you today. That's what I do.
Oh, snap, it's happening. And this is episode 46 of the Pop Tower, I believe.
Okay. We got sixes in this. We got sixes and numbers divisible. So we got third season, 6.
Yep.
What's the overall number in that phase 1?
Yeah. Well, the other film is also in phase 3.
Yeah.
So we got 6s and we got 3s. Anyway, so we're here to talk.
We're here to talk about numerology.
Yeah. Let's talk about the meaning of numbers.
Yes.
And whether or not it is indeed number wang.
Guest starring Jim Carrey.
Oh, Olivia Colman.
Ah!
She was always on episodes of Number Wang.
Yes.
And now she's an Academy Award-winning actress. Oh, it's so weird. Just seriously, YouTube Number Wang later, and just, oh yeah, that woman's now won an Academy Award. Anyway, so we're going to talk about video games, television, and movies today. Yeah. We're going to do one of each. And we're going to start off probably a little simply. I don't know, because I've barely played this one, but I know you played it a fair bit. So
yeah.
This will basically be your show. So we're going to talk about Dead or Alive 6.
Yes.
So, brief summation of the Dead or Alive franchise. It is pretty nuts. We got professional wrestlers fighting ninjas and assassins.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's a clone subplot or something like that.
Yes, a clone does actually show up in this one, too.
Yeah, it was clones, not android duplicates, right?
No.
Yeah. And then I know at some point one of them turns into a mermaid to sing about never running away.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way they, air quote, play volleyball, on air quote, when it's really just more random casino party games so you can have an excuse to look at these characters in bikinis.
Yeah, it's just fan service. It's the fighting game equivalent of fan service.
Oh, yeah. I just prefer the term smut. Have you seen the Dead or Alive movie?
I was about to say, and when you said pro wrestlers, I was like, are you referring to Kevin Nash?
No, wait, is it Bass or Bass Armstrong?
It's actually Bass.
It is Bass,
yeah, it's
okay.
Bass.
Yeah, I know, because it's worth noting, there are male characters in this series, just the females get so played up.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but like even in the game itself, the female characters are so much better than males.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like, I mean, because Kazumi is basically one of the main protagonists of the series.
Mm-hmm. She's pretty much the poster girl.
Yeah. Like, Christy has gotten more attention as of late.
Yeah.
And Ayane, is, but she's, like, tied to Kazumi, so because she's, like, her sub-ninja or something?
Yeah, she's kind of like her protege.
Yeah, and then Ryu Hayabusa, freaking Ninja Gaiden guy, is also in this franchise.
Which is crazy when you think about it. Like, he's been involved in the series for quite a while, too, which is even more incredible.
I know, it's weird. But yeah, it's a fighting series, and there's a lot of smuttiness, whatever. But, like, at its core, it's, like, very much a punch-kick, grapple, classic fighting game, not too many weird supernatural moves.
No, the thing about it, and that's one reason why I've always enjoyed the series so much, because it's like this blend of Tekken and Virtua Fighter.
Yeah. Like, there's very little, like, the plot is still insane.
Oh, it's absurd. I mean, the fact is one thing I've told people about, I wish they would have had, like, a backstory, so people who don't know about the lore could just, like, watch or even, like, text, just read some of the craziness that's been attached to the story.
Absolutely. I mean, and then we got yeah, as it stands, the plot of this one isn't really, okay, tell me, I know, let's just get into it.
Okay.
What do you want to start with?
No, I mean, like, the plot is pretty much nonsensical, though, because, I mean, one of the biggest things when it comes to the story is the fact it's told in a branching narrative. Like, you start the prologue, and then that might open up something in chapter 2 for a different character, and then something might open up for chapter 3 for a different character, and then you might go back to the actual main storyline. But just pretty much like the main story is the fact that the ninjas, which is all that every ninja that's involved in this game, are trying to stop this budding scientist from creating a deadly android figure that is overpowered and can for some reason turn the lights out at random times when you fight them.
That's really no less absurd than what the bad guy was trying to invent in the film. Sunglasses that let you instantly defeat anyone.
Yeah.
But the sunglasses will fall off.
They can fall off.
Oh, man. Not to mention everything was branded DOA.
Yeah.
Love that.
I mean, like in this game, it's a DOA Coliseum. Like, it's a brand name around the world.
I know. That's kind of the thing I love about this franchise. Like, even though I'm very casual about it, is I just love how it kind of embraces its own absurdity while at its core being a very grounded fighting game.
Right, which is like, it's funny because it's very similar to Tekken in that sense. And even like the King of Fighters, like everybody knows about this tournament, but to take it one step further is actually a big deal among not only the fighting community but the world. Unlike say like Mortal Kombat, where it's supposed to be like the secret tournament. It's like Dead or Alive, and the same thing like kind of like with Tekken, where Dead or Alive and Tekken had these big grandiose tournaments that everybody's excited for.
Kumite.
Yeah, Kumite. But now here's one of the craziest things about it when it comes to that is the fact that even though it's Dead or Alive, they actually emphasize the fact that nobody dies. It's just a regular single elimination tournament. You get knocked out, you're out. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't actually die.
You don't get knocked out into death. It just reminds me of one of my favorite bits. It's like, so is he unconscious? Yeah, dead unconscious.
Oh man, but I mean, from a single player perspective, one thing that I know we were talking about is the fact that like, beyond the story, you know, you have arcade mode, you have survival mode, you have time attack mode. I actually did survival mode last night for the first time, and it's actually 30 fights in a row before they say, "Hey, you've survived enough." So it's actually pretty extensive, and then you have the DOA quest mode, which is essentially like kind of like an extended training mode that rewards you with clothing points and gold and all that kind of stuff. Because of course, as we stated, it's fan service. It's a fan service heavy game, so you get to buy these skimpy costumes for certain characters. Like certain characters, you can obviously tell, like the Japanese audience do not care about this character, so they don't like put that much effort into their clothes.
Do you have an example? I'm just curious.
Oh, one character is Mila, who's I believe she's a Brazilian, and she's like Tina's rival, and like all of her clothes are just sweatsuits, like the entire time. Like she has nothing, like either it's t-shirts and jeans or sweatsuits, like nothing revealing as any other character would have. But like Christy, she has like Ivy, you know, from Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah,
she has like a rip-off costume of that.
Oh yeah, I just googled Mila. Yeah, they did a couple for her, but yeah, like just based on what I saw in Google. Whereas if I googled any of the other ones, I'd probably have to turn on safe search.
Yeah, but it's obvious. But okay, just a bit of a trivia. Who do you think is actually the favorite in the Japanese audiences?
That's a really hard question. I know Christie's popular, as are Kizumi, but I'm gonna... you know, I think I'm gonna go with Helena.
Nope.
Who?
Honoka.
The one with like the
ginormous
like weird braided
breast.
Oh. Oh, okay. The one. Oh, the new one. Okay,
Yes,
I was thinking
that
of
looks
someone
like a
who.
schoolgirl with ginormous.
I think I was thinking of Li Fang.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
I was completely thinking of the wrong person.
Yeah. The Ling Xiao Yu kind of rip off, but yeah. No.
Oh, Honoka the freaking schoolgirl.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
With the weird little. Okay, you know
the
the
skulls
stuff.
and everything, and the one glove.
Yeah, and I remember she was featured heavily in the promotion for Extreme 3.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
All right. So, how's the actual gameplay?
No, if you play pretty much any of the previous Dead or Alive games, you'll feel right at home. Like, the main thing about it is simple combos. You know, you can just hit punch over and over again or kick over and over again and throw out some nice little combos. But, of course, if you're fighting people that actually know what they're doing, it's going to be a little bit harder. Guarding and throwing are big implementations in this game. You have to know how to properly time guards. Because if you guard right at the perfect time, you can catch a person and throw them down or even, like, throw a submission hold. Because one of my favorite characters, like, pretty much my main character I've played with since the first one was Tina. Because, of course, I had to play with the pro wrestler. So...
Yeah.
So, like, I really am associated with her more than anybody. And just being able to catch people off guard because they're throwing crazy strikes and you catch them with an arm drag is really cool. One of the biggest things is this break gauge, which is like the fatal stun mechanic they've added. So, like, the more you hit people, or the more you land successful attacks, you build up this gauge that can create, like, moments where if you hit it at the right time, it will have you slip behind your opponent, which can, of course, open you up to throw out a counter, and then you have if you use up the entire gauge by hitting the same button, you can do a special attack that's like a big special finisher that if you've done it at the right time, it can knock off like 25% of a person's health. So they have like the mechanics that make it a lot easier for people to pick up and play, but overall, it still feels like this perfect blend of Virtua Fighter and Tekken, where you had the juggling of Tekken, but like the ground-rooted kind of physicality of Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah. No,
I don't think I have much to add.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy it. But one thing I will suggest, do not, because they just recently released a free version where you get like 4 characters and like a couple of stages. Just get the real version. Just get the full version on disc or digital, because it's just a waste of time. Like, you will not feel happy about it.
No, fair enough.
But just one thing, just the only issue, I know we talked about single player, just the only issue, if you want to play with friends online, don't bother either. Because for some reason, they did not put lobbies or player matches in this game for some reason. It's only ranked.
That's pretty absurd. I mean, I played offline with friends, and that was fun.
Right. Like I say, if you got like local play, it's fine. But if you want to play with somebody, like if you and I wanted to play, it's pretty much impossible for us to play.
Huh. That's absurd.
Yeah, I mean, a fighting game in 2019, like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. But how else will we get the ultimate showdown between, I'm going to pick 2 random fighters, let's say Honoka and Marie Rose?
The battle of the just Moe.
She's the other. Oh yeah, she's the other Moe.
Yeah. That's
I thought she was the weird Tengu. No, that's someone else. Yeah. Okay. The final thoughts. You'd say, if you played the other ones, you'll like this one?
Yeah, very much so.
Alright. And I don't know if we got much else to add.
No, nothing else to really add on that. Like I said, if you enjoyed 5, 4, 3, I think it's pretty much like the last 2 generations worth. You'll definitely enjoy this one.
Right on. And if you're not careful, you will be dead or alive.
Oh.
Except you'll just be alive.
You just be alive, but you just won't know that. You just won't. You just be unconscious. Dead or alive sounds a lot better than just unconscious and alive.
Yeah.
Marketing, I'll tell you.
Yeah, speaking of marketing, let's talk about a series that we never thought was going to come back without extensive marketing.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, HBO. Just because they're a big, awesome company that gave us multiple seasons of Game of Thrones, and we're getting at least one more season of Westworld, doesn't mean they don't screw up sometimes.
No. They're not foul. They're not unfallible.
No. So, True Detective. Season 1 came out in 2014.
Man, I cannot believe it's been that long ago.
Yeah, well, don't forget how long. Can't wait until we get to talk about Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
And that starred Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey.
Mr. Lincoln himself.
Yeah, they were Louisiana detectives, I believe, right? Down in the bayou. Louisiana bayou, not the Florida bayou. and they had to investigate a case back in like the 90s?
Oh, it was like it was like the 70s merging into the 80s, and then it was like we started fast forwarding into the later years.
Right. Yeah, because it was basically 20 years.
Right.
And yeah, that was the whole thing. And yeah, they had to investigate these weird ritualistic murders. And along the way, you get quite a bit about Nietzsche and just the nature of good versus evil, light versus dark. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty good. Like, it kind of reminded me of, and I know this comparison's been made before, like the movie Seven.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Because McConaughey is very much like Morgan Freeman's character in that movie.
He really is.
And the villain is a bit more nuanced and well-handled version of Kevin Spacey's character.
He kind of goes from, like, hillbilly redneck to, like, it's really weird.
Yeah, it's better than some other villains.
Child at first, you know.
Yeah, it's a thing. And then in season 2, we had a very much change of pace. It was all set during the present day, more or less, and focused on Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, Taylor Kitsch, and also crime boss Vince Vaughn as they investigate like the secret people basically running a town up in California, up in Orange County.
It's sad because like the premise sounded good, the cast sounded good, but I thought Vince Vaughn did a good job. I did.
I never find him intimidating.
Not intimidating. It was like one scene. I'll give him this one. The one scene where that kid's parents die, and he has to sit down with the kid. It was a very good.
Oh,
scene.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you.
Yeah,
that
like him. I'm not like him being intimidating is one thing. Like I'm not. I'm with you on that. I just really can't take him seriously as a.
It's like Tyler Perry trying to punch me.
Right. But like
you're too doughy, man.
From an emotional standpoint, he can deliver on that end. But like you said, just try to take him seriously as a guy that could kill me potentially. No.
And that long scene where he talks about 2 water stains.
Yeah.
Look, this season 2 really got up its own butt.
Oh my goodness, man! It was one of those things. Like I know they tried to go a different route. They wanted to be a little more action oriented too. And like the first episode, I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. It was like it just began this maze of just absurdity that just continued on until the very end. It was like, hey, we gave you what you wanted. Isn't that right? And like, no, this is not.
No,
you had the formula and you tried to mess it up. And this time, though, they had the formula. They really utilized the formula from season 1.
It's far enough away now. I could say it would have been nice if it would have been really interesting if they actually killed off Colin Farrell at the end of episode 2.
Oh man, that would have been great.
When he got shot by the man in the bird mask.
Makes sense.
I know. And then there was that ridiculous over-the-top gunfight.
That
just kept going.
When I say the action-oriented part, that's the first thing that pops in my mind every time.
Yeah. Although the other thing I have to say, I love that the gruff old cop was confused why the younger highway patrolman was saying something homophobic. This is like a gruff, like this guy is clearly meant to be from a different age. He's like he probably doesn't. Era. Yeah, like he doesn't care for certain races, women, certain sexual orientations. It's like, and like the guy says something casual. It wasn't that homophobic, but it was still like. It's still not good, right. And the guy's just like, why would you say that?
It's like there's something about his character they never got into that we should have known about.
I know. It's like, oh man, I kind of want to see more of that guy. We need another character like that, but have him be played by Bob Gunton or something.
Oh yeah.
That'd be good. Anyway,
Season 4.
I'd be down for that. I have I'm not going to mention that. That's way too off topic. But season 3. So season 3, which by the way, season 2, 2015.
Right.
So, and this dropped this year.
Right. They were riding a wave of momentum with season 2. And I think that's why everybody was so excited about it, because the first season was so good, it became kind of like this unexpected hit.
Oh yeah.
And then it was like, okay, well of course season 2 is going to be great. Like they have to.
Yeah. And nope.
And like you said, now we're kind of far away enough removed to get the bad taste out of our mouths. So now we can kind of come in with a little bit less. I mean, we still got like expectations, but our expectations have been lowered. So
Yeah. Plus, they didn't I mean, they still got some big names for the cast, but it doesn't feel like every character was being played by someone like, oh, I know this guy from a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that was one thing. Like with season 2, was almost like, hey, it got so popular, like everybody wanted to jump on board. So like, let's just use everybody.
Yeah. No, in this case, it's a lot more restrained because, well, they obviously banked on a major star to help carry this because it mostly focuses this time in one dude.
Yeah. Even though we had this partnership, it was in the first season. We kind of had this dichotomy where they were going back and forth, and even though like one of the main, well, pretty much Woody Harrelson's character was like the driving force, he still had Matthew McConaughey's character right there with him the majority of the time.
Exactly. It can be hard to say which one was truly the protagonist at points.
Right. So I mean, you had Matthew McConaughey's character playing devil's advocate so much during that season. Yeah,
and of course, Woody Harrelson's at being it as most Woody Harrelson is, which is fantastic. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Where he's just like, man, you just don't know when to, and then
I loved every time they had a family dinner. It was just, it was awesome.
He just folksy busts his balls every time, and he's just that's I think part of the charm of that one because the series would get up its own ass,
right?
But then Woody Harrelson would bring it back down to earth, which helps redeem him because he's also such an intolerable sleaze in some ways.
Yeah, but season 3 we had a situation where we've had some dinners, but they don't have that levity to them. We have some very serious dinners in this season.
So I want to mention this one follows one of our favorite recurring actors on this podcast.
Yeah, he's become
Ali.
Yeah, he's become one of those guys we always talk about with big grins on our faces.
He's a freaking super talented actor, and he's now a 2-time Academy Award. He's an Emmy. Didn't he win an Emmy?
Yeah.
No, he didn't win an Emmy.
I thought he did. Huh.
No, he's a 2-time Academy Award winner.
Okay.
He's because he won for Moonlight and he just won for Green Book.
Right.
Say what you will about Green Book, he was good in it.
No. He's anytime he gets an award, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. Look, just because a film you question the writing doesn't mean it's like watch Gladiator. It's like some of the writing's really not that good, but it's still a memorable film.
Right.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that because we're already tangent heavy.
Yeah.
So, this series is set primarily in Arkansas.
What about Missouri?
What else is in the Ozarks?
Oklahoma, isn't it?
Oh, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Oh, and of course Kansas, southern eastern Kansas. Yeah. Okay. I knew Oklahoma.
I prefer calling it Kansas. Because sometimes you just gotta open up a can of sass.
Yeah.
Okay, enough stupid jokes.
This is
like Arkansas is the focal point.
Honestly, we can't talk about it too much on spoilers. That's why we're going into tangents.
In a way, yeah. It's set in the Ozarks, primarily Arkansas, but they go to at least a couple of different states, don't they?
Yeah. They move around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like Fargo, where they mostly stay into one of the, because it's like they're either North Dakota, South Dakota, or Mississippi, or not Mississippi. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, I only have to know 10 provinces and 3 territories. You guys are overdoing it with your 50 frickin' states, and then you've got 9 territories as well.
And unfortunately, I would never get an autograph from Bob Backlund because I could not name them all.
That's fine.
Between presidents and states, I would not be able to name them all. Sorry, Bob.
Hey, he'll probably make fun of your finisher though. Anyway, so Rashad Ali, not only is he playing our detective lead, who in the future is it Alzheimer's or dementia?
He has a dementia.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And so, because this is also set during multiple time periods, and the dementia is very much an important part of this story.
Yes, it is. Very much so.
Because,
as you say, it's set across multiple time periods. It goes from the 1980s to the 1990s. And then it has this big, 25-year jump where he is definitely suffering mentally from dementia. And it's just wrecked him in terms of his ability to cope with the idea of something that's happened very major in the little small town.
Oh yeah. So this is very much a one-man show for the most part, and he nails it.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But yeah, so the other main cast, just real quick, is Carmen DeJoyo. Her character is basically a teacher.
Yeah, she was elementary school teacher when we first see her.
Yeah. I'm trying not to mention anything else.
Yeah, same here. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
But she very much ties into the main plot.
Yes.
That, and then we mentioned he has a partner. Yeah, so Mahershala Ali, 2-time Academy Award winner, and then you think back, it's like Woody Harrelson, I believe he's an Academy Award nominee, and Matthew McConaughey, and he is now a winner. At the time, he was, I think, a 1-time nominee as well. So 2 very accomplished, seasoned actors. So who did they team up this very accomplished actor with? Stephen Dorff.
Yes.
The guy who very frequently almost has a career.
Yes.
I say with all respect, because I actually do like Stephen Dorff. He's like Chris Klein. It's like, man, I wish he had better stuff.
Right. It's amazing because it's like, I hate to say, I'm trying to think of a good example, but it's almost like Chris Tucker, like right before Friday. Yeah, but like the only difference is Ice Cube wasn't an actor either at the time, so it's not a great analogy. But it's just like one of those things, where you got this guy that has a career that, it's mediocre. Not because he's bad, it's just one of those situations. And hopefully, this might be kind of that moment where a lot of eyes open up for him, because I thought he did a very, very good job, especially from a character arc perspective. He probably had one of the best character arcs in the whole season.
Probably, yeah. You're not wrong. And this is definitely better than when he was, unfortunately, in Alone in the Dark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look, just because I'm going to praise him doesn't mean I'm not going to bring up the fact he was in that.
Yeah, everyone should shake their head that was associated with that.
Yeah. Oh, that poor man. He was also in the original Blade.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Anyway, we gotta get through this cast. Yeah, so he plays the partner, and then we get, okay, is it actually Scoot McNairy?
Yes.
It is Scoot.
Yes.
Okay, and he's one of 2 major DC veterans we've got here, because he had a supporting role in Batman v Superman.
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who the hell he played, but some guy. I don't recognize the name. I just don't. But yeah, he played some guy, and in this case, he's the father of. I don't know if I should say much more than that.
No, he's the father of 2 individuals that they're searching for. That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah, that's probably.
That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah, so understandably, he's a major character because of that.
Yeah.
And then,
and of course, before I just interrupt you with this character too. Of course, since there are all these time jumps, all these characters have these major, not only physical shifts, but sometimes even mental shifts in the way they present themselves. And I just love the jump from how he was presented at the very beginning of the season to like midway.
Yeah. Oh, there's some changes.
Yeah, there's definitely some big changes.
And then, the last main cast member is Ray Fisher,
yes,
a.k.a. Mr. Cyborg himself.
Yes.
Again, getting a better shake.
Yeah, and not to spoil anything much, but, like, the person that he's supposed to play is a perfect, like, cast for the people that he comes from. That's all I'll say. Like, he just looks like a perfect representation of 2 people.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't get into it too much. But, no, yeah, he's also, understandably, once you get into his character, understandably a major dude. Yeah, and this is set in a fictional town. Was it Fayetteville?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I remember because it sounded so weird. I'm guessing Lafayette named or something like that.
Yeah, like they don't want to use anything real in that sense, but,
Oh, yeah.
They find those French words they come up with for names.
Well, Lafayette, wasn't he a major hero in the American Revolution?
Yeah.
French dude, yeah. Hey, there were French people at the American Revolution.
It happens.
Yeah. Look, the Cajuns have to come from somewhere. I bet she better not get into the real history of that. We'll be here all day. But, yeah, and aside from them, we did also get a few more actors recognized. Probably most notably, the man Michael Rooker himself shows up.
Yeah.
Oh, I did appreciate seeing him again. And, what's her nuts? Mammy Yummer, who I unfortunately still mostly know as, one of Meryl Streep's kids. It's really, I know, like, even though, like, her and, like, especially one of her sisters have gotten way more accomplished, I'm like, that's why.
It's funny.
That's not fair, though.
And also, I feel sorry for Stephen Williams shows back up again. And for some people that might remember him from The Grandfather and Leftover Season 2, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I just feel sorry for him. The way he continuously gets portrayed in HBO shows.
Yeah. And what I kind of like was, because I remember in Season 1, before I finished watching the first episode, I thought they were doing, like, a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
And, no, it was just, like, interviews well after the fact by detectives.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with this season I thought was done a little bit more, maybe haphazardly, but I understand exactly why they did it, and I don't want to go too much into it. But, like, in the first season, when they did the time shifts and the movements between, like, okay, why did this happen, what have you, they kind of had that camera effect of just fading into another scene, whereas this was kind of like blips, like, oh, 1 minute we're here, 1 minute we're there, 1 minute we're here. And like I said, I understand exactly why. I don't want to go into details why, but it might be a little jarring for people that are not expecting it or can't necessarily keep up with it.
Yep.
My biggest advice: pay attention to Ollie's hair.
His hair is amazing.
His hair is amazing, but it's also a cue of what year it is. Because if it's like a nice little fade, it's got some height to it, it's in the 1980s. If it's a short fade, it's in the 1990s. And of course, if it's gray and he looks older, you know what year it is then.
Yep, 1975.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, but one thing I had to ask you, Peter, because I know you're a fan of practical effects too. How did you feel about the aging effects that they did on the characters?
I thought, for the most part, it was pretty good. But the ones they clearly had the most time to work on, I'd say they did pretty well.
Right.
Like, Dorf looked freaking good.
Yeah, he really did.
And of course,
I love the pot belly too.
I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, they made that look
on
good.
The porch, man. He had that pot belly. I was like, oh man, that's great. It looks so natural.
I know. And of course, Marshala, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it was just some minor characters we saw a few times when they were older that maybe not so great. But I mean, you ran into that problem, like with True Detective Season 1, even. What's her nuts?
Oh, the wife?
Yeah, she just didn't look any different.
Yeah, she looked absolutely. And I hate to harp on Stephen Williams again, but he looked old when they showed him the first time. He looked old like 25 years later. He looked exactly the same age.
He's been an old man his entire life. The only problem is he's now too old to do hoop and stick. I imagine that's what he did at one point. He's old enough to remember hoop and stick.
Yes.
But no, I would say just in general, because we can't really get into the plot too much more, it is a pretty good season.
Yeah.
It's nice that they went back to the formula from the first season, but they also mixed it up quite a bit.
Yeah, they did a couple, especially at the end, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but they did a couple of twists that were rewarding in the sense of not just following exactly what they did in the first season.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things that will probably confuse you if you don't get it.
Yeah.
But if you understand what they're going for, I saw more than a few people confused. So I'm like, they didn't nail it as well as they could have, I guess. Or people just weren't paying attention. But why the hell would you not pay attention if you're watching a show that's all about paying attention?
Yeah. I mean, you need some type of roadmap sometimes when you're trying to follow all the switch and the scene shifts and the year shifts. And you got to pay attention. If you miss something, just rewind it if you can. DVR, just rewind.
Oh yeah. No, it's like otherwise next thing you know, it's like you're turning on an episode of the show, and you're like, wait, why is Woody Harrelson black?
Yeah. Oh man.
I was very unsure if I should make that joke.
No,
But...
that it just makes me think like Stephen Dorff, like they try to figure out who could look like Matthew McConaughey in his version of True Detective. The best without being Matthew McConaughey is like, oh, there's the guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's good he got work.
Yeah, I'm happy for him because, like I said, he did a good job. He really did a fantastic job. Like one of my favorite scenes was so minor was him trying to find a woman at church, and it was just like he was just so cool about it. Like it was just really funny. I thought it was really good.
And he didn't even have to. You know what? I was gonna make a reference. I'm not gonna make a reference.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Let's just go with that. Anyway, so, in case you're familiar with it, Marvel has this cinematic universe.
Yes.
Movies tend to make a lot of money.
Very much so.
As of this recording, have you seen what Captain Marvel?
Oh my god! I just looked at it.
Right. It's at over $800 million already.
Oh my god! I just looked at it right when you said it. My goodness, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We gotta correct ourselves. It's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, technically yes. Oh god. Okay. I'm gonna try and explain this. This is a pain in the butt. So, way back in the days, I want to say
before I interrupt you, are you going to talk about the issues between the two major comic heads?
Oh yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Because this is worth it. Because there's another movie we're going to talk about soon that this is going to tie into, so I need to talk about this at least once. So, way back in the day, there was a character named Captain Marvel, who, by saying the word Shazam, would be struck by lightning and turn into an adult man with various powers. Like, he's very Superman-esque, but magic. And the kid, Billy Batson, would turn into him. And this is, like, as I mentioned, Shazam. There happens to be a movie coming out soon called Shazam.
Yeah, I was about to say, I hope that sounds familiar to everyone that's listening.
Yeah, because...
You've probably seen a commercial or two by now.
Because what happened was, at some point, they discovered, because DC eventually acquired Captain Marvel, and then someone went, you know, they don't own the rights to Captain Marvel anymore.
Right.
For naming convention. So, for a while, like, they called it Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Like, it's MAR-VELL.
Right.
And they just kind of had all kinds of workarounds. Then, eventually, Marvel won the rights to call their comic Captain Marvel. And DC had to start calling it Shazam, but they could still call the character Captain Marvel.
Exactly.
And then eventually they either gave up or lost the rights to that too. I still don't fully understand what happened there because that's more recent comic history.
Right, yeah, that's one of the things, like, it just started really happening and now they can't even use it in the comics.
Yeah. Yeah, or like, I don't know, I just unfortunately do not know what led to that, but that's basically been a thing now. And so the character, I believe, is now just being called Shazam as well, even though that's the wizard.
Right.
So it's a whole thing. It's confusing. And one thing I discovered from watching an interview with Zachary Levi, by the way, one of the biggest fans of this version of Captain Marvel we've been talking about for the DC one, Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out Elvis's outfit was inspired by that. Which is like, That's some fun trivia for you. Anyway, so the Marvel version of Captain Marvel is a legacy character who went through multiple iterations, including one who died of cancer of all things.
Yeah, and this is like one of the things that's very intriguing and interesting to me is the fact that considering the lead in this movie and what how she's been kind of vocalizing her thoughts and opinions when it comes to inclusiveness. It's kind of weird that no offense, but a blonde white girl is playing this character when we have an out for this.
We do.
We have an out. We could actually have a black character playing Captain Marvel if they wanted to. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We can even have a Arab character.
Yes,
I
we
think she's
could.
Arabic.
That's the thing. We have the opportunities for inclusion with this character, but they did not take it.
Hey, look, we'll start with her, and then the
It's
sequel.
a pyramid effect.
Hopefully. Wait, look what happened with Captain America. We didn't get Falcon until the second movie.
That's true. Now I'm intrigued, like, what Captain Marvel we're going to see in Avengers.
Okay, at the risk of making too many race jokes, you gotta wait until the second movie to introduce the black sidekick.
There we go.
War Machine didn't start doing stuff until the second one.
And Buster Rhymes and Drunk and Michael Myers until many years later.
That was like the 10th one.
I know, but we had to wait a little while. We just were trying to survive at that point.
You've been reading my Twitter feed, haven't you?
I saw it the other day.
Yeah. I won't get into that.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk about the greatness of Captain Marvel.
Yes. So in this case, it follows the character of Carol Danvers, who in the comics, by the way, man, did she go through some stuff.
Yes, she did.
If you remember the 90s X-Men cartoons, yeah, Carol Danvers is the one who is the reason why Rogue had super strength in flight.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of other stuff I could bring up about screwy stuff that happened to her in the comics. So when they finally decided, you know what, let's just stop calling her Miss Marvel, let's make her Captain Marvel, I'm like, thank you. Because legitimately, I am a big fan of Carol Danvers. Like, she's probably my favorite Marvel heroine. So I've been waiting for this movie for a while. Right. And, well, some of my thoughts really, it did not disappoint, but it definitely could have still been better.
This, for me, is very ironic, is just what is very Aquaman.
See, I'm going more Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay.
Because it kind of falls into some of the same problems that one did, where it's got a pretty solid premise, like, unfortunately it just follows into some familiar traps. I don't know, I'm trying to avoid too many spoilers here, so I'm just
because it's like midway through, it's a major spoiler.
Yeah.
That we cannot even touch on without spoiling a lot. Like, it's just a big twist that we just can't.
Well, I'll hit on a few things that are pretty well known by this point.
Okay.
So it follows Carol Danvers, who is a member of the Star Force. I believe originally they were the Nova Corps.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because of what? Yeah, but they had to kind of change things because of how the Nova Corps were depicted in Guardians of the Galaxy. But the Star Force are enforcers essentially for the Kree, who also showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy.
And for people that have been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you might recognize some of these names.
Yeah. And their big thing is they are fighting the Skrulls, who can finally appear in Marvel films, because that was the thing that they were still working on before the deal with Fox went through.
Yeah, the big merger.
Yeah, because the Skrulls were tied up with the Fantastic Four, much like Galactus and like a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I'm still surprised they were able to get it human.
It's amazing, like, so many Marvel properties are just scattered around for movie purposes. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, well, Fox also had Submariner. They never did anything with him. Yeah, I'm not a big Submariner fan myself, but I'm just saying. And, so the big thing is she has to come to Earth, and it turns out, she's human. So she kind of has to rediscover her identity, how she ended up being a Kree in the first place. And luckily, our old friend Nick Fury is in the 90s, and he's here to help. I think that's probably where we'll leave it.
Yeah, the fact that Nick Fury also has a good taste in music. We'll give him credit for that as well. 90s music.
Well, one of the highlights of the movie, I just want to say, first of all, I do think Brie did a pretty good job as Carol.
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of people kind of complaining, like, she was too stoic and all this kind of stuff, but, like, a big part...
That was kind of the point.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of her character is attached to how she's been, quote-unquote, raised, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil exactly, why she is what she is right now, but the way she's been raised since this situation, since she became pretty much a member of Star Force, it makes her be this way, and I love the fact, like, by the end of the movie, it's kind of almost, like, freeing to her, even though that she is still trying to figure out certain things about herself. She's kind of free in the sense that, hey, I know who I am as a human and what I can do.
Yeah.
And like there's one part where she kind of like goes Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So like she's feeling good there.
Well, yeah, this
she's
is the
feeling
whole
pretty
thing.
good there.
They basically keep telling her, keep your emotions in check.
Right.
Which, if you really want to lead into the gender stuff in this movie, could essentially be smile more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I know I'm projecting way too much into that.
I really do. I hate to say it, but it was like you were just waiting for. Is it your time of the month kind of joke coming out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that kind of innuendo throughout.
Yeah. It ultimately. That I got nervous at a few points in this movie, especially because they ruined one of their best jokes by making it again.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Because at one point, like, they did this in the trailers, I can mention it. She crashes into a Blockbuster, which of course doesn't exist anymore.
Right. It's not. Mine, as you said earlier, it's set in the '90s, so of course Blockbuster still exists.
And then they immediately make a Radio Shack joke.
Yeah.
That kind of kills the Blockbuster joke, I'm not gonna lie.
We remember all of these things. You don't have to keep reminding us.
I know, it's like, oh, look.
Brick and mortar stores don't exist anymore. Look at you.
You heard me say Pogs, right? Oh, you did not.
No, I didn't. But they're back. They're back in Pogs.
I remember Pogs.
Yeah.
Oh, they were dumb.
Oh, so stupid.
Whoa.
I'm with you on that. Like, I never understood the appeal. Like,
I had a bunch, and
I had a few, and it was like, what am I doing? And this is coming from a kid like this, like just collecting stupid stuff. Like, I'm happy with Silly Putty. But I don't understand the appeal of Pogs.
Anyway, enough shooting on the 90s. Let's talk about. So Carol's pretty good. I mean, the problem is she's stoic, and they maybe could have found a way to play it more entertainingly.
Right.
Like, I might as well plug an anime I'm watching. Like, I started watching Violet Evergarden.
Okay.
The main character's kind of stoic because she's like only known military life, but she's still hilarious.
Right.
Because she like fully doesn't understand like social norms. Like, she keeps saluting people, stuff like that. Like, so it was a good way to kind of make it funny and also tragic at the same time.
Right.
There's so much going on with this character. They unfortunately didn't find that extra level for Carol, but I mean, she's still pretty well done.
Yeah.
Because you got a pretty good actress.
Like, it's funny because, like, Fury is actually not the straight man. Like, she's the straight man in this scenario. And Fury's the funny guy.
Yeah. Oh, because, it's young, fun Nick Fury.
Yeah, with the CGI de-aging.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
which actually
it's amazing. I gotta give him credit. Like, I wasn't impressed that much with certain CGI effects in this, but the de-aging process for him and Coulson was so good.
See, I wasn't even going to mention Coulson, but that's a pretty minor spoiler.
I mean, we know, okay, Fury's in this movie, so you know Coulson might show up, or something, S.H.I.E.L.D. associated with show up.
And he's in a good chunk of this movie.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he doesn't do much. Like, I understand he's like a rookie in this scenario, but I wanted more funny Coulson. I really did. They did like a tribute to him, like still having kind of like a kid-like mind, like in terms of stuff like him collecting stuff. But I wanted more.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
like, that's kind of the problem. Like, the movie, because we said Fury was really good. Carol was pretty good. The Skrulls are really good.
Yeah, surprisingly, like, it was one of those things where they felt like just generic enemies, which I was like, why are they able to speak English so well, kind of deal. But then it was like a nice, about midway through the movie, they did something that really made me endearing to them. They really endeared to me.
I really love that for other meta reasons I can't go into.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know what you mean.
I bet you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I gotta say, the Kree characters.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, they just felt like I can't say it because I'll spoil it. But man, they could have just they could have felt so much any more insignificant. I don't know how.
The Kree are really not good villains.
No.
We've had 2 movies and a TV show half season where they've been the main antagonists, and they're not good.
It just doesn't work. It really doesn't.
No, like, the most interesting thing they do is, like, this one minor character who's and later becomes important, but even then it's like, it's still not great.
No.
It's not even as good as Paralysis or whatever his nuts is from Doctor Strange, because, like, he ultimately wasn't that interesting, but he was at least super sympathetic.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with the movie for me, is the fact that I never felt a threat for Captain Marvel. Even when they did, like, artificial threats, they did a few artificial threats, like, later on in the movie, but even then it still felt kind of hollow and like, man, there's no way this person is going to be able to beat Captain Marvel.
I know, this is kind of the problem, because they ran into the Superman problem, and they didn't find good ways. They only had a couple times where I think they legitimately had it, and like, you can write Superman to be taken down.
Right.
Like, I do not subscribe to the theory that you can't threaten Superman without, because you don't need, first of all, he's got a list of weaknesses, not just kryptonite. But
I was about to say, like, he's got, like, the kryptonite weakness that is the top of a whole bunch of other things that he can stop Superman with.
Yeah. Hey, he's still vulnerable to psychic attacks.
Right.
I mean, there was a whole thing where, what was it? Batman was getting his butt kicked because Superman was under mind control, and Wonder Woman had to figure out how to stop it. That's the whole thing. But yeah, this is my point. The Kree are really boring, and just the general level of threat in the film doesn't really match Captain Marvel, which is funny because it's not a mirror counterpart, even though it's also a movie about shapeshifters.
Right.
Like, there's some weird stuff going on with this movie, but, like, the main thrust, Captain Marvel rediscovering who she is and trying to define who she is after being defined by other people for so long, that's pretty good. And
I'm with you until one of the big fights at the end. And it has nothing to do with the actual storytelling. It has nothing to do with the fight. It has everything to do with the music choice.
Oh my god, I'm 100% with you on that. Man, they tried to recreate the immigrant song from Thor Ragnarok,
yes.
And they screwed. I don't think we need to. So, okay, what the hell is the actual name of that song?
I'm Just a Girl.
They could have just used Bad Reputation.
That would have been so much better.
I mean,
I
don't
think it was like a female song, a female empowerment song to a certain extent, but it's just like, no, okay, mind you, like, when I was watching that and when it happened, the first thing I thought about was, like, if this was the equivalent of the bathroom fight in the first episode of The Punisher Season 2, I would be fine with it.
I'm just trying to think of even, like, not great choices that would have still been better. I'm like, they probably could use Waterfalls by TLC.
Well, they had that in the car.
Yeah.
They
could have used it again. They used Immigrant Song twice.
That's true. Like, I mean, we probably could get off air and, like, come up with a whole list of better songs that could have used.
I got one more I want to mention. I just gotta remember what the name is.
Okay.
What? Heaven is Place on Earth.
Yeah.
That still would have been better.
Yeah. No, it's just, I was so surprised when it came on.
Yeah.
Man, that's weird. Like, that was a bad song.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Huh?
St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh, yeah.
They used that in Into the Spider-Verse. They could have used it here. I don't know if it's necessarily a female empowerment song, but it
could have had the Rocky Balboa theme. It'd been better.
That would have been good.
Oh man, that'd been awesome.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely. That is probably the single lowest point in the whole damn movie.
That hit me so hard. Like, oh my goodness, that was one of those eye-rolling moments. Like, I cannot believe y'all thought this was a good idea.
You're trying too hard.
You're trying too hard, dude. Really hard. But
it was. It's like if for Black Panther's final scene, they picked some wildly inappropriate song about African Americans. I can't think of a good example because the only
like this ludicrous move, get out the way, like just came out because it's like it's 2003
or
all
X
over
gonna
again.
give it to you. No, yeah, they started playing X gonna give it to you.
Yeah. Like,
that's what this is like.
Because of the Wakanda Forever, like the way they pose, and like all of a sudden, like at the end, like X gonna give it to you. What?
Yeah. Wouldn't Kiss Me Deadly have worked to play again, too?
Huh?
Didn't they have Kiss Me Deadly by Lita Ford?
I think so.
Because Just Girls from No Doubt, which, yeah, that was not great.
What Nirvana song did they have? I can't remember now.
Come As You Are.
Oh, that's what I thought. I thought it was.
They had a couple R.E.M. ones, too.
Yeah.
Oh, they could have... I'm sure there's a Bare Naked Lady song they could have used.
Oh, man.
Imagine if they played 1 week. Yeah, we're trying not to do too many spoilers. Now I'm just obsessed with figuring out what song they should have played.
It's so... Like, it's just... That was a bad choice. Like, that was definitely that moment that stuck out for me. Like, oh, this is like a terrible, terrible decision.
Yeah. The World... They could have played The World Is Not Enough.
Yeah.
Dead garbage on
like,
the soundtrack already.
Walking away from it, do you feel like this is a good precursor? Because, I mean, this is really what I'm looking at. It's not just an origin story. It's a precursor to Endgame. And do you feel like it was a good precursor to it?
Yeah. I mean, I do think so, ultimately, because I still think it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely one of the more flawed Marvel ones.
Right.
Like, I still wouldn't say it's as bad as, like, because, of course, everyone goes to Iron Man 2 as, like, the worst one.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually that, and I think, usually Thor 2.
Yeah, I definitely,
And I will defend Thor 2 more than I will defend Iron Man 2. Because I just really like the whole, ancient foe from the beginning of the universe thing.
Right.
But of course, there's a whole lot I could talk about that movie about. Yeah, I'm just thinking Enya. That'd have been good.
Yeah, I mean, I walked away with, I'm feeling okay, but it just doesn't feel like anything that I haven't seen before.
I know, that's kind of the kicker.
Yeah.
Like, despite they had the fun they had by being in the 90s, and the chance to actually show another side of Nick Fury, as well as a couple of cute precursor ideas to show how we got to point in movies set later, that really don't mess with the continuity too much.
No. Like, it's just one major issue later on, but I mean, that's kind of like from a perspective situation in terms of one character and a major physical flaw to a certain extent.
Yeah, I still can't decide how I feel about that.
I mean, if it was never recognized in an earlier movie, if it was just like something that we just saw, like we know he has one eye, like that kind of deal. But no, it's.
I still don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm really.
It's kind of. It's entertaining.
In the context of it, it's pretty funny, but toward his character, it just doesn't work.
I know, and like on the one hand, I get why they thought it was a good idea, and I don't think they're necessarily entirely wrong, but I think it's ultimately a disservice, probably.
Right. I mean, especially
that's probably the way I can think about it, because like.
Character became. But
it subverts your expectations in a really good way.
Yeah.
But it probably shouldn't have.
No, exactly.
I mean, it's like when we talked about earlier with True Detective Season 2. It's like they didn't kill Colin Farrell in the second episode, but that's like, was it a good idea that they didn't do that?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, one thing that we have to wrap up here, but
yeah.
I mean, we know because we've. At this point, there's no real spoiler that we can say. Of course, we know that Captain Marvel is showing up in Endgame because of the post-credit scene in Infinity War. But why did the beeper not be used earlier?
They're hopefully going to explain that in Endgame. Because they did not explain that in this movie.
No, not at all. I mean, they had post-credit scene. They could have used it at one point, like just explaining like why Fury decided, you know what? This isn't the time. We have these major invasions, aliens destroying New York, but this isn't the time. Maybe it's a sequel. Maybe like the sequel will get the adventures of Captain Marvel and Nick Fury.
Yep. I was like, oh, it's so good to see you again.
It's like Johnny Quest. It's like Johnny Quest the whole time.
All right, I wasn't expecting a Johnny Quest reference, but sure. I got nothing.
They need to recast it now. Now it's Johnny Quest. And Bree's going to be Johnny Quest.
Look, the important thing is we had set up for Monica Rambeau, so in the sequel they can potentially introduce her as another Captain Marvel, or they can introduce Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either or.
They have the opportunities now. They just got to take advantage of it. That's all.
Yeah. See, the black sidekicks have been set up.
Yeah.
I am talking about race a lot today, and I don't know how to feel about that. I constantly feel like I'm too white to have these conversations.
We've covered the gamut today, so especially when it comes to feminism, we've covered that as well, in the best possible form. Empowerment, offset by just gigantic boobs.
Yeah, but look, at least they still had a secret ninja hand glider.
That's true. That is true.
With DOA, of course, grafted on there.
Yeah, y'all gotta watch that movie.
I love how we're coming out of this with a recommendation for another movie.
Well, one thing we can say that Captain Marvel is not so bad. It's good. It's just it's a good movie. Whereas DOA is just so bad.
DOA is terrible, but it's entertaining.
It's entertaining terrible. It is the type of movie you would expect Kevin Nash to be involved in.
Oh yeah, and all the other cast members. Natasha Malty, what are you doing? You're not in good movies. Aren't you supposed to be in all the Blood Rain sequels?
Good times.
I had to bring that up. All right. So definitely not going to be Captain Marvel. Definitely not going to be featured in a DOA game anytime soon.
No, not at all.
But look, I know we've only got 5 weeks now. As of this recording, it'll be like 4 weeks when this comes out till Endgame. But yeah, check it out.
Yeah, no, I definitely say get yourself a little hyped up if you want to. It's not going to be like Black Panther hype coming off of Black Panther and getting ready for Infinity War, but I think you'll be pleasantly entertained a majority of the time.
What pissed are you going to be if Captain Marvel now wins Best Picture?
Oh, man, that'd be crazy.
I know, right? It's like, what?
I love Black Panther like so many other people, but no, Infinity War. If any Marvel superhero movie should have been nominated, it was Infinity War.
Endgame might get nominated just so they can do the Return of the King thing. Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there as an early theory. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I think until next time, because I mean, we're obviously going to talk about Shazam at some point. We're going to talk about Endgame at some point. You got some good idea of what we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah.
But until then, just remember,